Hey, how you doing, Ed? Good. Good for you. Very good, thanks. Good to see you.
So literally, I'm gonna.
Maybe not working. Well, some
Right.
on the beach.
Hey, John, you drive home okay?
Yeah, it's a long ride through Southern.
You drove?
You drove?
Yeah.
Oh.
We did construction there on Saturday.
Right, I have these. Does anybody get these? No. Okay, I have your. There he is, perfect timing. So guys, how much did you get your packets?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, this is for.
Ed, just put these here for you, I believe.
Okay, they'll pass them out when they, this is for Ed's presentation, this is for the soccer field. Oh, you should, everybody has one. Everybody has one in their packet. I'm gonna turn this once on, sorry.
Whatever you want.
Okay, thank you. How are you?
What a night day.
I only saw it on 28, 29. It's impressive.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna do the other truck. He was gonna park out the other truck. It was like, he could, I'll fix it. It's just actually, I'm gonna fix the other truck. That'd be nice.
Maybe he ought to bring that.
I'm sorry. Bring it to the. Oh, it's the 10th, right?
10, yeah. Yeah.
Actually, it looks really nice. I painted the rim. It looked like shit. They painted the rims.
We can't say anything.
Painted the whole pad. That's all the parts off. I sandblasted everything. I did the rims over and I extended the chassis. Yeah, with the sand, so I extended it to. Looks good. Yeah, no, it's really good. You're not great.
Looks brand new.
Yeah. Huh? Yeah, because the spreader was way more than what it was for that. So I extended it. Just as the chassis. Yes. What do you mean double? No, it's like a C channel frame.
Yeah.
But it's two and four, right? No, it's not. Yeah, but it's heavy duty.
Yeah, well, yeah, we have.
So,
but it's very exciting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call this meeting to order and ask all of you to please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag.
For which it stands, indivisible, with justice for all. Great.
All right, thank you very much. We're a little bit behind tonight, so we're going to kind of move along as best we can, but we're very excited because we have two presentations, and our first one is a very important one. Actually, Virgil, you've never been here before, But we're really thrilled to have you. And Virgil Capillari, who works for the Assemblyman's office. And you have, I don't know if it's a new office, but I'm looking forward to hearing, but I know you're Director of Veterans Affairs and you've actually added some other things to that. So we're very anxious to hear about this. And I wonder, where would you like to stand so that you can give us an overview? That would be great. You want to bring that? That's on wheels if you want to bring it up a little bit so you can face people. Sure. Not steady wheels, but it is on wheels.
Which way? Which way should I have it facing?
Either way is fine. I think they're just trying to, we want to catch you on that camera right there. So that's perfect, right there.
Right here.
So the board can hear you as well. That's great.
Perfect.
Thank you, Virgil. Welcome.
I want to make this less of a presentation and more of kind of like a discussion piece. So at any point along the way, please feel free to interject. Got a question, need further clarity on something? So it is a recent office stood up within Assemblyman Beepan's 105th here district as a Director of Veteran Affairs. I've somehow been involved, both as former military, as a veteran, as a retired Department of Defense employee for over the last 25 years, dealing with these and other issues, many different capacities. Here in the district, we've noticed as through Dutchess County, we're one of the few counties this far south to have actually increased over the last 10 years the number of veterans as opposed to losing them. Well, that means there's a lot of people out there, a lot of issues, a lot of needs, and it's no secret, especially in the southern parts of the county, we have some of the richest history here in terms of support to the First and Second World Wars, and even wars before that. I had the benefit over the last month of meeting 3 different World War II vets. Still up and about. One of them actually still drives. So it's actually pretty impressive. When I was talking to Supervisor Moss, she was really excited to kind of get me out here to talk. So we're trying to do something we haven't done in the past. Now I wear several different hats. Yesterday I became the chair of the Dutchess County Veterans Affairs Committee. So I'm hoping to kind of align and leverage several of these different veterans initiatives. But as residents within the district, my primary concern is to give the proper attention due here. There's a lot of services available to veterans we want to make them aware of. Castle Point less than a year ago was almost on a near chopping block. One of the things they look at least in the federal government's terms, is how much facilities or programs are being used and whether the population at large understands it and wants it. We want our fellow veterans to be able to utilize it, right? And so I'm here to encourage it. By all means, please, and we know that many people here have had families. I've been more than tickled by the World War II memorials I've seen going up in the various towns. So we want to kind of see that trend continue. And what I'm here to do is offer a direct line of support. I didn't have enough business cards for everyone here, but I tried to leave some on the tables. And I've been in communication. I want you to know, at least through Supervisor Moss, you call, you'll get a response right away. I don't like waiting. I don't like making other people wait. So one of the things we want to be able to do is find out exactly how we can better support. And then I'm going to reach the part where you can help me. One of the things we're looking to do is better bridge some of the statewide benefits available and programs. I work very closely as also I'm a trustee at my local Veterans of Foreign Wars post. Having served in multiple conflicts, I know firsthand what it's like being out there. It's not fun. It's like most major cities today when you turn on the news. Anyway. Okay. Not my jokes. But beyond that, I want you to know that you're not alone. Navigating and trying to get the government at times, especially the federal government, to honor its commitment, the military services, is not always the easiest thing. That's where I come in. All right. As Assemblyman Beepan's Veterans Affairs Director. I'm also here to deal with the affairs issue and not just the standard stuff. We also want to make you apprised of other countywide activities, including summer retreats, very large barbecues they put together on behalf of the county, and kind of bring people together. And it's not just veterans, it's the supporters. It's the supporters who matter most. Okay, because how else do we get what we done without them? Veterans Care Services. If I can't get you an answer, I'm closely linked with various non-for-profits and other organizations around here, which I'm going to tell you right now are pretty impressive. Everything from assisting homeless vets to providing food to veterans' families. If I can't find you, and if I can't give you the answer directly, I'm going to find you someone who can. And if you can't, my business card's right there. Please come and let me know that I'm not doing my job, because I do take that personal. But that won't be the case. I care very much about the service I've done to this country and to those who put themselves out there on behalf of it. Without running the risk of going down everything, one of the easiest ways that the towns like Unionville can help us out is trying to get a better head count as to the veterans that live in every town. We can look at things like the property tax exemptions and try to kind of trace back a rough estimate. But maybe as new folks are moving into town, getting that idea, maybe keeping a little better track of that. And I know just out here in Unionville, I know 2 Gold Star families that recently moved here within the last year and a half. It's a big deal. They lost somebody who put themselves out there for us. So that allows us the ability to better direct services. One of the other things I'm trying to do down here through the district assembly district office is maybe try to organize some summertime kind of boat drives. You know, there's a lot of companies out there that are looking to hire, just in general, but veterans. You know, one of the things I'm floating around is a coat drive, maybe business suit drive. You know, dress for success. Maybe help kind of lead it that way. So I can talk more maybe offline about how to get maybe a better head count, but that's something that could help us. Making folks aware. That's really the first step. I understand you can only lead a war horse to water. Can't make them drink all the time, but we can try. I hope what I'm saying makes sense. I hope it's somewhat, you know, flowing, and I'll kind of stop there, running risk. Are there any questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
I
sir.
have a concern I want to express to you.
Yes, sir.
I run the closed cemetery over here, superintendent. And twice this year, we've had burials of veterans. One was a World War II veteran, one was a Korean War veteran. In both cases, the family did not have the actual discharge papers for when they left the service. One left in 46, one left in 51 or 2. Because of that, they would not provide an honor guard at the burial, and it was very disappointing to the family. And I'm hoping, especially Mr. Edward Sharkey, one of the most prominent citizens we have, he was buried without an honor guard, and I think it was very tragic. And I'm hoping maybe when his veterans plaque comes, that an honor guard could come and honor him at that point.
I would definitely like to gather what information possible
Sure.
and follow up and give
Okay.
you, more importantly, his family, the
Okay.
satisfaction they deserve.
Yeah.
That'd be wonderful.
It's not just separation paperwork. If they can find something like a medal write-up, something that just shows some kind of existence in service.
Would the federal government not retain records of guys that served?
No,
in the war?
yes and no. So a lot of the stuff is stored out in St. Louis at one of their document facilities.
Mhm.
And in the mid to late 50s, there was a massive fire.
Oh,
So Now, I don't know how convenient of an excuse that becomes every time they can't find something. Well, it must have been the fire.
Yeah.
But I will also tell you that sometimes the separation paperwork of that time frame is a little different from today.
Okay,
Even I've had to do like double and triple takes, because a lot of that stuff was typed up on a typewriter.
sure.
You remember those days? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But anything like a medal, photos, because we've had some claims too. Unfortunately, there are some folks who've claimed improper status,
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
so the military services become a little knee jerk.
Mhm.
However, there's no reason why we still can't try to present a better case to the military service or their Office of War Affairs.
Mhm.
I have no problems knocking and keep knocking on the door.
All right, thank you.
At the end of the day, I work for you.
Okay,
So
appreciate it.
please get me whatever information you can, sir.
Sure, definitely.
Great, nice for them.
Mhm.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Anything you would like to see? Anything you don't? Please, not all at once.
But I think for us, we know how many veterans we think, because of tax exemptions, but there are others that are out there. And I think it would be nice to maybe organize something with you for them and try to get them to come out.
Be more than happy to.
And I think it would be nice for them if there was reason for them to come, besides maybe food might be enough. But, just to get them, the Unionville vets out, because remember a couple of years ago, you remember when the county had that big parade, we were driving guys over there, and since that big parade that Mark Molinaro put together, I think 3 or 4 of those guys are gone. And so we're now, and we need to know again who our guys are, men and women, and try to get them together. I think it'd be nice. Some of them go to other events in other towns, but we haven't had anything for them here. So it would be a really nice thing to do, and maybe a little smaller, but maybe more intimate and fun for them. I don't know, but it would be nice if you could think of even a speaker that they could listen to, somebody that would bring some beneficial information, and we could just run a regular town event for them.
Duly noted. Yes, ma'am.
Would include women, women.
Yeah,
Military.
absolutely. In fact, I've always wondered, in a lot of the records I see, we don't see the women's names popping up, and we know a lot of the early nursing corps during the Second World War came right out of this area. Yes.
There's actually, my aunt was a World War II nurse, actually, from Dover, served in India. But there's a woman, I don't know if you're aware, in Pleasant Valley. I'm sorry, no. She actually lives in India. I'm sorry. My town is turned out.
Okay.
But I'm sorry.
Right.
Helen Mastachetti was a World War II nurse. Now, I don't believe she was in theater. But she was a nurse
In the Army during World War II. Tomorrow, she's turning 100 years old. Now,
Wow.
I have her address. There's been a campaign, I sent my card yesterday, to send her a happy birthday. And I know the woman in person. She taught me how to walk, she said, "Hey, you need to putt like a lady and always putt for 2. Quite a lady, wonderful. But she's a good help. She's our neighbor, Helen Mastachetti.
I'll be sure to make note of that, which brings me to another point. Although the honor flight, is everyone here familiar with the honor flights?
Yes.
Yeah.
Although they've done a pretty good job of really making their rounds, we hear there's still some Korean War vets that may not have gotten the word, or maybe at the time it wasn't ready for them. Anything we could do to spread the word?
Is there any age limit?
No, there's no age
Oh,
limit.
okay, good.
As long as you can physically take it, and the oldest I've seen is 104,
Oh, wow.
Wow.
and he walked all around DC.
I had the opportunity to go do the honor flight 4 years ago. It was the most incredible day.
It's a great day, isn't it?
Anybody ever had the opportunity to take
Take them.
it's the most incredible day.
So with the office, we'd be more than happy to put people in touch and they're now taking Vietnam vets.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is the next big kind of step here. Yes, ma'am?
Do you know Rhodey down in Putnam County?
No. Is he the service director?
I don't know the title. If he was very close to my brother, who was in Vietnam. And yes, it's one of his ones.
I'm glad to hear that as a semi-patient there. I tend to appreciate my care. So that I get there.
That's great.
So that's the first part of that is the honor flights. And if you do, like I said, I don't differentiate. If they served during World War II, you're a World War II vet. You know, so anything we could do to kind of bring a spotlight or attention, and I will get back to you on maybe trying to arrange something here during the late spring, summer.
Perfect.
Are there any other questions, comments, concerns?
No.
I left my cards there. If anyone, please feel free to reach out. I care very much about this. This is not for me volunteer. This is something I owe back. All the goodness that came throughout my life has come from the military. So. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Appreciate it.
Well, then now.
You might be good there, Brittany, because you didn't want to refer to this.
I think.
Virgil, you leaving? Thank you very much.
Very much.
So, yeah, share the screen. Okay. You good?
Yeah.
I only want to slide when I delete it.
That's just like you.
No.
Great, I'm in intro.
Oh, okay.
Plus, we're at a new shop right there.
Thank you for being here.
It's out there.
Okay. So next up, when I get the thumbs up that she's ready, Brittany Hedrick will be presenting tonight a presentation that she put together as a member of the CAC. We're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about it more, and there are some brochures that were made by members that I think Brittany, will you address this as well?
Yes.
And, but last year, you remember, was our inaugural year with No Mo May. Lolita Malik brought it to us. And then we heard some comments. We learned a lot, and this year we're going to learn a lot more from Brittany. So let me turn it over to Brittany Hedrick from the CAC.
Thank
Thank
you,
you,
Betsy.
Betsy.
I'm happy to be speaking tonight on behalf of the CAC. Talking tonight about Low Mo May. You may have heard of the initiative No Mo May. I'll present to you a case study in my own backyard, suggesting Low Mo May may be better alternative. So we do have pamphlets
If folks are interested in
learning more, that have more of the background of how No Mo May became an initiative in the US. It started in the UK. And the purpose of it, which
I'll also get into tonight.
So spring pollinators are really the reason that Low Mo May, No Mo May are is an important event. So I'll get into it. Oops, yeah. So we often, think about honeybees when we think about pollinators. There are also native bees involved in the pollination cycle, and they're key to the food web. The statistic is that 1 out of every 3 bites you take has been brought to you by a bee or a pollinator. And 3/4 of the world's plants depend on pollinators to reproduce. 35% of the world's crops requires bee pollination. But you may have seen in the headlines, pollinators are in decline, both bees and other types of insects. So No Mo May is a step we can take in our own town to address this. So let me see
if I can.
You guys can see that fine. So how does No Mo May help? Starting in April and in cycle with the native plants in North America, bees come out of hibernation. So there are 70% of all of the world's bee species that nest underground. And in New York, there's 450 native bee species. So the honeybee is one species, it's a European species. There are 450 other species within New York that are native to the state that interact with all of our plants, our crops, and are one of the main contributors to pollination. So bees start coming out this time of year in April. And as the native plants start flowering, that triggers them to become active. But in our yards, which are heavily non-native species, you have your grass for one, but we have a lot of weeds, and the weeds are what's interesting right now to the bees. So we have creeping Charlie, clover, dandelions. Those are what's flowering right now in our yards. And that's what we want to preserve in the yard during no mow-may, low mow-may for the bees. So all these pictures I took in my yard last year. So we have this guy here is the honeybee. There's metallic sweat bee, cellophane bee, which is a ground nesting bee, the mining bee, and this one's a perplexing bumblebee.
You can't see there, but.
In any case, there's far more species that we can consider supporting beyond the honeybee. So what I learned last year in doing no mow-may is that, you know, hay is not the goal of no mow-may. And that's essentially what I did. We let our whole yard grow, which turned out to be a bad idea. We ended up with, you know, over 12-inch tall grass. And by the time the end of May rolled around, all of those interesting flowering species had gone to seed. So they're no longer providing flowers or nectar resources for those bees. When I did end up mowing, you know, the tractor was not happy. It took several days to clean up the piles of hay that we resulted in. So, you know, farmers, take note. It may be helpful if you're interested in making hay, but in our manicured yards where we have a lot of fescue, you're not going to want to leave the whole lawn grow. So a couple takeaways: if you just have grass and you are working on eliminating your weeds, no mow-may is probably not for you. But where you do have areas of weeds, dandelions, clover, creeping Charlie, those are the areas you want to consider leaving. So leaving the margins of your yard, particular, you know, you can make crop circle patterns if you want. Low mow-may is really the way to go. So let's see, you can mow fewer times, so that allows the flowers to flower and the bees to pollinate and collect that nectar. You can also have success in sites where you're not mowing. So leave a spot grow. Once those flowers have been spent, you can mow that area and then let a new area of your yard start growing. So that's my plan for this year for no mow-may. And an additional option to consider is, you know, just leaving a segment of your yard unmowed and natural for all types of insects, both ground nesting bees and other important pollinators. I'll just leave you with our resource page here. There's a lot of information on the web that folks can find, and the pamphlet as well. But again, I thank you for your time and hope you'll consider participating. Can I take any questions?
Do you have signs?
We do have no mow-may signs. You can call the town if you're interested. I believe we have 10 or so on order, so those will be available. All right.
Now, this, I believe, I keep looking for Andy, this was put on the website,
Yes.
on the CAC section of the website, your tab. So all of these links should be probably live
Active
when they
there,
go
yes.
there. So if people want to get more information, they can see this presentation there, right?
Yep.
Great.
All right. Thank you.
Brittany, thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Sure.
Thanks for everybody.
Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay. That was interesting. Great start to the meeting. At this moment, I'd like to back up and approve the minutes for the March 15th meeting.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of March 15th, please say aye. Thank you. We have the public hearing as well as minutes from the last town board meeting. I'll go right into the supervisor's report. I'm not going to give too much detail, but I have a couple of things and then I'm going to give a financial report. I told you last month that we'd be more ready. We're a little behind because of the maternity leave, but we're catching up. And then by next month, we'll be able to give the full reporting. All that paperwork that you love every month will be coming again. But I want to mention a couple of things. One, I got a letter from the Dutchess County Legislature, and I want to make sure that everybody, this notice is going to be hung on the board, but it's really just something that everybody should be aware of. The New York State Agricultural and Markets Law, that according to this law, that we have to post a copy of this attached notice. And what this is doing is informing the public about the Dutchess County Agricultural Districts 20, 21, 22, and 23 are under review. Now, basically, this is something that gets done, I think, every 10 years or something. But it's important to some people to know if they're interested in being in the agricultural district or worried about being taken out. Please take notice of this and do your homework. It'll be on our bulletin board. And actually, I'm going to give it to our town clerk. And what we can do is we can put this on the web so people can read it. And thank you, Adrian. And then people can read it. And then if they are concerned or they want to learn more about it, they can read the full resolution, but it is something to know. Now, this is interesting. I wanted to share this with everybody. I got a letter yesterday or 2 days ago from a gentleman, and I wasn't here then, so I don't know, this Mr. Cookingham. And he is writing me about the Germond family murders from 1930. Anybody here back in 1930 now? The Germond multiple murders is perhaps the most famous crime ever committed in the Hudson Valley. Its solution has evaded investigators for 92 years, but for an amazing coincidence, it would have remained unsolved. So this gentleman who lives down in Florida now was originally from Stanfordville. They've been here. Anyway, he must have been called into this Germond case, and it sounds like it was indeed, as a cold case, ultimately solved. So those of you who've been here for generations, you might remember this. But this gentleman is asking that area historians or people that might be interested, he would come absolutely free and give a presentation on the whole thing in the case. And I was wondering, Ed, your family's been here for generations. Did you ever hear about that? Germond family. Oh, did it really? So maybe we should have this gentleman come and tell us all about it. Because they saved it.
Where we do.
Where were you in 1930? Well, then we better find out who actually committed themselves before we invite them. Yeah, DNA coming. All right, so we may get in touch with him. That may be of local interest. As far as other things, I want to go through the report because that's the most important. But I did also want to share some other financial information. We did get our $72,203.24 first quarter sales tax due to the municipality. So that's come in. You know, we're on that new deal. We got the very large growth tax payment last month that I mentioned that it was $250,000. Now we're getting a percentage and they're dividing it amongst four quarters. There will not be any more growth payments. So towns are urged by supervisors and by all board members to please consider saving that growth payment that we had last month. We will never get another. But getting the percentage divided by 4 quarters means that as the sales tax rise, we'll still do better. We'll just be getting little bits and pieces. So if you budget too tightly to it, you won't have anything left over to work with. So I urge a lot of caution there. We also paid the taxes, $289.79 for the town on the rental property that we have now officially received, which is on the agenda. But those taxes were paid by us this month. Now, as far as our, before I go into the financial report, I just want to talk about Habitat for Humanity was at the recycling center last Saturday. Very well received. We had people coming from neighboring towns bringing some wonderful, they were very excited about the stuff people were bringing. Some beautiful antiques I noticed. And so they thought that our combined towns around really did them justice. They were pleased to be here. So I think that was a big success. This Saturday, we have the orange bag campaign where we're going to clean up all around town. That's going to be fun because the fire department's buying pizza when it's all over. Coffee starts at 9 a.m. So I want to remind, because everybody calls in spring about when are we going to clean up the roads, and this Saturday will be the day for everybody to chip in and help. So 2 commercials there. Now, as far as me take a minute to do our financials. John, do you mind passing this down to you and Kevin? Councilman, I should say. Here we go. Here we go, John. I wanted to talk to you all a little bit about, here you go. One for you, one for Kevin. Now, first, we're going to look at this document. This is our year-end report. Now, all of our our CPA is reviewing and auditing. And, it takes us a while to close the books for 2022 because we have a lot of bills that still get paid. They come here late, but they're 2022. And we get a lot, sometimes revenue, like the growth payment from the county that was for 2022 came in late. And so we close the books late and get everything attributed. But if you go through and look, I mean, we basically, we had a phenomenal year in 2022. And I think, we have, and I have to, I want to put a big plug in here because, we had a tough year like everybody did back in when COVID first hit. And then everybody, all the department heads, everybody chipped in and helped. And we ended up okay that year. And we've done stellar things since then. But I want you to look at, if you look, we tend to look at the whole picture, and then we look at each of the departments. And on this chart, what we have are the departments. We have certain departments that obviously bring in revenue. And we have other departments that are support the town that will always lose money, that aren't supposed to bring in revenue. But I do want to go through and look at a few of these things because our department heads are just doing such a fabulous job. Everybody watches their expenses. Everybody does their best to be fair to the residents and take good care of the residents. But because they watch their expenses and we charge fair prices, probably inexpensive prices, we're still charging $5 for the entrance for Oktoberfest and that was since before the 1980s. That hasn't increased. So our prices are decent. But if you look, I think some of the standouts in our recreation department, we netted $135,000 after paying everything. So that's a good thing. A lot of recreation departments run in the red and we haven't for, 5 years. The recycling center, which we were in the red before, we brought it up to even. We made in 2021, they made some money because of all the people, not going out anywhere. We did well again in 2022. We made $19,000. Now, this is important because number one, it helps us maintain our very reasonable taxes, but also if we look at these numbers and we allocate them, when we set up reserve accounts and save some money, we could take that money and put it right back in the recycling center. In addition to the new booth, we've got other stuff we can buy. Our highway department ended up doing much better than we expected because you didn't spend as much money because we didn't have as much snow. And so all of that money stayed in the budget. So the highway department's got a little bit extra to work with this year. And we didn't know that until we closed the books and paid all those bills that were there. So Ed, you're up $128,000, which is really handsome. The service areas like planning board and ZBA, they will always, and those are mostly salaries. Anything that's a negative there, mostly salaries of staff that support them. The clerk's office, they don't bring in any revenue, but they're there to support all the things, the printing and things like that hits the clerk office as well as salaries. The building department, up $23,000 for the year after paying the employees. We had an incredibly expensive year. Events even made $898, and we do an awful lot of free events. Parks, we used to budget, Jake, we used to think of the park as being something that would cost us way over $250,000, but because they manage their expenses so well, and we do a good job, and you have such a good relationship with highway and everybody's sharing. I mean, that number's even gone down. We are looking at the other departments. Tax collector is not really important. Dog, animal control, that's the stipend that we pay. So that's a negative number. The only one that I mentioned to you last year that I'm concerned about is the court system. We lost $34,000 in the court system. The only time we lose money really there is when we go to trial a lot and things that happen. They run separately, but the comptroller's office has asked the Dutchess County supervisors and mayors to take a look at the losses, because 65% of the towns in Dutchess County lose money on the court, and wants us to review things like when is the last time the towns raised their fees, and what can the comptroller's office do? It's probably going to be something legislative, but apparently most towns are losing money, except unless they're right along the Taconic. So that's an area that we're not unique there, and there's nothing that we can do really about it. But the good news is we have a very hefty, we had a very strong net income for the year. Over $600,000 we ended up with because so many of the expenses were saved. We've got a fund balance of 2.6 million. So total fund balance, including our capital fund, our reserve accounts for highway and things that we're saving for big ticket items, is 4,520,346. And that was quite hefty. We just did a nice job last year of saving a lot of money. And because of everybody watching as well as they do here, it allows us to pay cash for things as opposed to bonds and opposed to going out. Not only that, Ed and our parks manager, you guys have done a great job last year in finding, you got the 2 Oshkosh trucks. I mean, we got some fabulous deals last year that would have cost us a fortune. So our fund balance is quite healthy as a result, and we thank you for all your efforts. Jake, you're doing a heck of a job managing that park. Again, working well with everybody, and all of our other departments do a good job of as best they can, like building and everything else. But it was a really good year. I have to say we're pleased with it. I urge very high fund balances because I think our town should always have. I mean, my view is we should have $2 million in fund balance at all the time, because you don't know when you're going to get hit with a catastrophe, and you don't know. I mean, it takes us over $1 million just to pay everybody and to run the town. So if it gives you a little cushion because you're going to pay everybody for 1 year, and then you have because you have $2 million in cash, then you can breathe easy and nobody will panic, and you won't have to lay people off until the catastrophe is over. So that's my urging, my commercial, but we're there, we're in good shape financially. And I can't just thank you to our department heads for, even those like the town clerk who can't make money in that department, she helps us watch expenses every day, and as does the finance office. It's a real nice team effort. So I'm pleased with our results, and we finally got them done. So, and when the audits are finished, they will be out probably in May. So we'll have those. Yeah, that will be done in May. Okay. All right. So that's my report. I know we have a lot of people to thank, but we're going to spend more time doing that when we have a lighter agenda. So at this point, I'd like to turn it over to board member reports. Councilman West, I'll start on my left. Do you have anything you'd like to report?
Just that I was busy with the annexation project.
Yeah.
Hopefully the results of that is coming forward soon.
Yeah. Certainly hope it takes a lot of hours. Thank you for all your hard work. Councilman Derlin.
I don't really have too much to add right now.
Well, you guys have all been working on these projects we're going to discuss tonight. So we'll circle back about those shortly. Councilman McGivney?
I just want to talk about the Orange Bag campaign this Saturday, like you said, the 22nd, 9 a.m. Station 2 in the Clove. It's a good opportunity to meet your neighbors, your fellow fire department, EMS people, town officials. Another good opportunity for a lot of local high schools require community service for kids to graduate.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity to get some hours for community service.
Yeah. Great idea.
Yeah.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilman Guscott.
The only report I have is our highway superintendent gave me the opportunity to refurbish our brand new 1980 something to Oshkosh. Oh, sorry, it looked 1980.
Not anymore.
So yes,
It's only
so
22 years old.
we were able to take that on. We gave it a new life. The second one that was supposed to be parted out, actually just to help out the other. We've decided to.
And they sold it to us?
Yes,
Yeah.
we've decided to refurbish that one as well. So we have a great backup of plow trucks for the upcoming years, and that'll keep our costs down. Yeah, they look great. I was happy to do it, and it's a great gift to the highway department. We're happy to do that. So thank you.
The guys enjoying that? I bet they like their new truck.
It's my truck.
That's the way that works, I guess. Thank you, Councilman. That was a wonderful gift. You got the oldest new truck. There you go. All right. Well, as it stands, you're up next. So Highway Superintendent Ed Katie, would you like to go through? Yeah, that'd be great. Let me pass out your 5-year plan as well. There you go. And we should.
Okay, so we came up with our this year large road projects.
Mhm.
We can go through the numbers. Basically, what we're looking at doing with this fiscal year would be to with a photo chip, basically the roads that we did last year with blacktop to seal them, which we commonly do every year. So that's gonna be
Want this?
the Cutler Lane with oil and chip.
Thank you.
Oil and chip is Cutler Lane, Barmore Road, Timor Park Road, and Clap Hill section. Resurfacing, this is a tentative schedule because we got some issues on towns. So we have Tompkins from North Smith to North Oak Road, resurface. Burbank Village Road from the bridge at Milewood and Burbank Village to Burbank Road. Rush Hill Road, we just got a quarter mile down on the top that was done several years ago, but it's failing, so before we lose the whole top of the hill, we'll resurface a quarter mile of that. And the other road would be Hook Creek Road, the entire road will get resurfaced. That's our major projects. And you'll see on the 284 the cost of these projects.
Very nice.
All right, the other thing that the guys have been up to, I don't know if anybody lives or rides on the dirt roads, but we graded and raked and rolled all the dirt roads last week. And they actually came out really good, I think. So that's last week's project. I don't know if anybody noticed the new berm at the intersection of Roswell and Oak Valley Road.
Yeah.
And
Who did that in the county or you?
we did that.
Oh, you did
The town did that.
Oh, wow.
The highway department. Seems that the fence, not a guardrail. That's what she felt. Put a berm in there. That's, will go on top of the berm, so hopefully, cars, the way we constructed the berm, it's a very soft material. It's also got some organics in, so it'll grow flowers.
So we're looking for,
Pollinators.
we're gonna go plant there.
So, it'll give a nice touch to the town. at that particular intersection.
Good.
Again, I wanted to thank Mr. Dubscuff for, Councilman Dubscuff for taking care of that truck. That was greatly appreciated. And I don't know that we thank you for the tailgate for the new truck. That thing works great.
Oh, great. Good to hear.
So,
That's fantastic.
the guys were also starting to, sorry, but we're going along the roadsides. Heavy brush. And again, dealing with the endless potholes. I'm getting a lot of calls on dead trees. We're taking what we can. I've increased our tree removal budget. So once we identify we will be coming after so many. We're doing the best we can as long as we have. The orange bags for this weekend, as always, will be out on the pole and basket in front of the highway garage. Are they dropping a dumpster at the highway garage this year or?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I forgot to mention, thank you. Royal Karting is donating the dumpster and it'll be, they're gonna drop it off Friday afternoon. And it'll be a little to the left of the, after you drive in your, to the left of the building.
Right, same place.
Yeah, so
So there'll be a dumpster.
let's hope that it lands
For
there.
people to put bags in, or they find a couch on the side of the road, that'd be great. The only other thing I wanted to talk to the board about is the salt shed. Can we seed falling with finding a firm, or can I start getting pricing for repair or whatever?
Didn't you have-
We want to take.
Did you have that? Yes, the short answer would be yes.
Yeah,
But-
I-
but
I
I'm
can't
sure
do
there's-
anything without, I've got to get an architect or engineer involved with the concrete part of
Didn't you do that with Tom Harvey already?
it. No.
Oh, I thought you guys
I
were
got
looking
a
at it.
price for doing that, which I thought was a little high.
Okay,
And what my thought process was to do a concrete base 2/3 of the way around. And then a pole structure on top of that, a pole bar on top of that. And so the engineering would have to be, that we would pay for, would have to be the concrete end of it. And then I'm looking into pole barn kits and pole barn companies. And they supply engineering if you buy their package. So we wouldn't have to pay for that extra engineering architecture. So. The
Yeah.
blessing of the board, I'll put forward.
I think you have to, the board would vote on, like, three.
Some proposal.
Yeah, we need a proposal to vote on,
Right.
but you've also got the money from the, reimbursement from the insurance company.
Right.
So, and some of the things you were explaining to me, that this is not in that realm of expense that would be the equivalent of fixing the dam type, or that kind of thing. So this is gonna be much more reasonable, and Ed, that idea, it seems like that might work.
Right.
So I would say
Well,
everybody should go for
that's
it.
the concrete end of it.
Yeah.
And I'll seek out the whole lot of concrete.
Yeah, and then bring the proposals in, and that's what we'll react to. That's fantastic. Great, thank you very much. Now, before you leave though, before you move on, what I'd like to do is read this 284, walk through it, and then vote on it. We need to vote on this tonight. So you guys have had this, we sent these out a week or two ago.
Yes.
What you have in the 284 is consistent with Ed's 5-year plan and what he wants to do, both oil and chip. And then the quotes are attached to the back. Same ones from a couple of weeks ago. But I know the only thing that was different, I think, Ed, that was when you added the type 3, the black top is $75 per ton. And then the type 6 is $76.50 per ton.
Right.
And then if you add it all up, the totals are on these sheets for each road. You have yours,
Yeah.
Kevin, you want this one? You got it?
You got it?
Okay, great. Oh, yeah. the original. So the total amount that we have is 360,000 for the permanent work.
Right.
And,
57.5 homes.
yep, that's the town, but that was in the budget this year.
Mhm.
And then, he's walked through every street that he wants to do, and he's already got it priced out. And the good news is that unless these prices, and they could go up, right, Ed?
I don't think so.
You think they're locked in?
Yeah, they're locked in.
Okay, good.
Especially with that, he moves so fast before they can raise him, he's got it done.
And when do you, anticipate starting?
Probably first submitted May.
Okay. All right. Well, I've been through these because we've had these for a couple of weeks, and Ed and I went through this 5-year plan together. So I would, I feel comfortable that we're right on target, and now we know we have a little bit of extra money left over from last year. Doesn't mean we have to spend it. No, we're good at holding on to it around here. So does anybody have any questions of the superintendent while he's here? All right.
Very clear.
And can I have a motion that we approve the 284 as submitted?
Make that motion.
All right, is there a second? All right, all in favor of approving the 284 as submitted, please say aye.
All right.
Aye, all right, gentlemen, if we could, I'll ask the town clerk if she could pick one as the original and everybody could sign this. So we'll pick one at the end of the meeting before you go. We all just need to get everybody's signatures on it before everybody leaves for the evening. All right? Good, well, congratulations, you're all set.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. All right, next up, just put my paper away here. Next up, we have our town clerk report.
So we did some renumbering for the resolution, that all those changes on the agendas and resolution will be in all the material on the website. If you need extra copies, it was just a sequencing issue that we had. So everything is renumbered and available on the website. The second part is that we have our annual document shredding day scheduled. It is Wednesday, September 27th. We'll have more information coming. And of course, I won't know the exact time until the day of. I'll be able to give at least a 3-hour window the week of, so stay tuned for more information on that. We'll of course put that on the website.
Great. Okay, great. Thank you very much. All right, we're going to talk about. You want to stick around? Yeah. Okay. So, now public comments on agenda items. Does anybody have anything they want to say?
It would be nice if the people who attend the meeting.
Copy of your financial report, so we can follow all those numbers.
Well, they're all going to get posted. Yeah.
I'll come tomorrow and make copies.
Please for me.
Okay, that's great. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Anybody want to give Elfrida a set so she can? We want some.
Oh, never mind.
Thank you.
I get off the computer. You get a color
All right, that's it. Then we will go on to board reports. And next up, we have our Conservation Advisory Council Chair, Mr. Josh Redinger. Would you like to come right here? That you're not making a presentation, you just sit right there. You'll be on the microphone that way.
You give him a microphone.
Or just turn your head, thank you.
Don't worry about it. It's all on the crumpled paper. It tells you enough. All right, so a few weeks ago, the CAC, along with Betsy, we met with the Dutchess Land Conservancy just to go over a basic educational meeting to see how they might be able to help us in the town. It was very successful, so we're going to schedule a follow-up meeting and expand upon the people that would be in that meeting and take a deeper dive into how they may be able to help us with subjects like open space preservation within the town. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And it's certainly something that I think most people in the town are very concerned about. Second one. So a while back, a previous CAC had developed a map of potential scenic views and scenic roads within the town. And I've chased them down and I should have them shortly. So what we intend to do is to go over this and update it to the best of our ability, submit it to the town so it can be reviewed and then, potentially used as, something to assist with the town code, just as necessary.
Right.
Because I think that's something that's
One
lacking
of our
right now.
open, it's one of the open projects from the master plan.
Yeah, so
We'll get that one.
so I should have that in
And the second one would be the environmental
a
overlay
overlays.
district.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Overlay
That's
districts.
great.
One at a time.
Well, the other one's done.
So last time I gave an update, I spoke about an invasive presentation sometime in the spring. We felt that the normal May was a little bit more important since May is upon us and invasives last all year. So I still intend to come back and do that sometime probably in May or June. But we're also going to try to expand our outreach to residents and we're going to do this through social media. So right now we have an Instagram account that Lisa Vince has set up and she's already put a lot of very informative things on there about invasive species that are prevalent in the town, things about the removal. We're trying to set up a Facebook account to link them together because not everybody has all forms of social media. And once they're working in order and are in a presentable fashion, we're going to have them sent out via Unionvale mail. So anybody can, look on there, contact any of us. And if you need help, any of, problems in your property, we can actually come down there and help you and give you advice and come up with a management plan.
That's great.
So.
Mhm.
One last thing, so I was speaking with the Waterman Bird Club and, this is a very ecological thing for a CAC group, but we're planning a bird walk through Time War Park. There's a tentative date that they might be available because Beekman Library was already planning to do one. So we just have to check to make sure that all the dates are okay, but if not, we'll find another day. also a member of that club, so I can help out as needed, but it's good community engagement and interesting stuff for at least some subset of the population.
What was that date?
It was June 16th. It was a Friday at 8 a.m.
Oh, looks good.
It's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we can probably go forward with that.
Yeah.
They're already doing it with Beekman.
Where are they
so-
doing it with Beekman?
They're doing it at Time Warp Park, but with members of the Beekman Library.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. And then you'll do it.
And well, it's
Just
a
a
very,
different
very
group,
small
yeah.
group, so we'll be together.
Great.
They only had 6 people, so
That's great.
looking to piggyback best of both worlds.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Virtual.
Yeah, they're probably gonna be gone by then, but
Good walk.
no, they'll be nesting then, so it is interesting. You learn a lot about ecology and the sounds you hear, and once you figure out what they are, it's pretty neat. And I just wanted to say one more thing on the no mow May thing. You know, a lot of ecological concerns are they're very newsworthy and they're covered all over, you know, water quality issues, obviously, climate issues, obviously. But things such as not enough insects, they don't really tend to get the headlines because people don't like ripping things off of their skin. So it doesn't get people's attention when insect populations are declining because people kind of inherently don't like insects. But they are the bottom of the food chain. And should they collapse, then we're all in deep, deep trouble. And the studies that are coming out now are actually a little bit terrifying. Some places in the United Kingdom, for various reasons, have lost upwards of 75% of total insect biomass in the last 20 years. And, you know, there's a variety of factors that could cause that. It's mainly thought to be due to advances in agricultural techniques, less fallowed fields, less parts of the fields, allowing for weeds to grow on the end. So we're doing a little better with agriculture, but it seems like those parts of the farms may have been upholding large insect populations. So with that habitat degradation, I'm sure pesticide issues might be leading to a very large collapse of insect populations worldwide. So it's something that doesn't get a lot of headlines, but it is a national security concern. It just doesn't get a lot of national headlines. So that's why, you know, no mow May, that's a small part of it, helping the early pollinators, but bringing back pollination, any habitat for insects is incredibly important, especially in a town like this where we actually can provide some habitat. We have a lot of large yards that, you know, if somebody wanted to on their property, mow half of it and leave it for 5 years could create an enormous, you know, benefit to the local ecosystem. You know, I don't know what the status of insect populations here are, but it is a national problem and a global problem, and it's affecting food production.
Yeah.
So there's not a lot of woo-woo to that. It's just one of those things, but
It's important.
it's very important.
No, nobody's telling us.
Yeah, and it affects the food we eat.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so that's really part of the reason behind this question. It's not some little thing. It's actually pretty important.
It's very
So-
important, Emily. Thank you.
All right, that's all I got. Thank you.
Yeah, it's wonderful, Josh. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And yeah, I wanted to say to everybody that I apologize. You know, Andrea and I were working on this media stuff all day because the woman that runs it for us has strep throat. And she couldn't be here tonight. But normally that camera would be on Josh, so everybody should be able to see him on both the cameras. So I apologize. And it looks like it's even moved. So anyway, we'll get it straightened out. Apologies for the for not being able to see him and hear, but I think you could hear him. But next time you'll be on screen, Josh. Sorry about that. All right, thank you very much. That was really interesting. Appreciate it. All right. Next up, we have our departmental reports. First up, our Parks Manager, Mr. Jake Gosnell. Jake, you want to come up and join us?
Can we do it? Okay. Thank you.
Pardon? All right, so while she's
Hey,
gonna,
guys.
she's gonna try to adjust that. Go ahead and give us your
All
report.
you can do is the tank has arrived.
No, the tank is not.
Oh, it did?
No.
That's first up. Go ahead.
So we ordered the tank in the middle of October. You know, we had a 13-week lead time. I started reaching out mid-January. And Shelby at Memphis Pools has been awesome. We are obviously working with them as
who we've ordered this through, the tank through, but it comes from Miami Tank Company. They're the ones manufacturing it. So all that she's been able to get out of them is that it'll hopefully ship by the end of April. So, we're ready whenever it comes in. The patch that we put on that you helped Vincent put on last year is still holding.
Wow.
So for right now, as it stands, the pool is runnable, which is great. Well, I don't know. It depends on when the tank shows up. I don't want to take anything apart until the tank is actually here, especially with the fact that, they're saying it's going to ship end of April.
Seeing is believing.
How long will
exactly.
it get here? How long will it take? A
They
week?
don't know yet. Yeah, probably about a week.
A week to arrive once it ships.
Yep. So
How long will it take to install and not fix the building, but just get it working?
yeah, I mean, it's a couple day project. We
Dude,
have,
that's not bad.
I have a materials list already of what we want to change out inside. But we also just need to get the tank here in just because it's the same model number and everything. We just want to make sure that everything is exactly the same before we start swapping. So we have to change, if we do have to change anything, that'll change our materials list. But I mean, as far as taking part of the building, that's the easy part, as far as that goes. So. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we talked about that. So.
We'll make sure we're on the same page.
Yep, same page. Yeah. So taking the old one out, we'll cut it up, put the new one in, put it in before it gets filled with the media. But yeah, it's just gonna depend on timing, basically, how we do it, because we do have to get the pool up and running and inspected before we have our classes that Courtney Meester will be teaching in mid-May. So
Get tight.
we'll see.
Get
Yeah, we'll
tight.
see.
Thanks for hanging
Do
in.
the best you can.
Exactly, it's gonna be,
All you can do.
but we're, as soon as it's here, we'll get it put in and we'll go from there.
Great.
Yeah, that's where I'm with that. The next one is something we've talked about a bunch of times, is the composting toilet for the equestrian center. You all have these pictures.
This one.
So we're gonna do a little bit of a mix of these two structures. Betsy really likes this little overhang over here.
Thank you. And why do I like the overhang?
Betsy says that's where everybody's gonna go fix their hair.
Well, no, the idea was we're gonna have this one, we want, at the equestrian center, we're gonna eliminate the porta potties.
Yes.
So there's $125 right there, but we have this there in a composting toilet. During a horse show, when it gets really busy. Everybody knows it's better to get the ladies out of the bathroom and in front of the mirror, around the side or on the back to keep the entranceway clear. And it's gonna be ADA, it's gonna be handicapped accessible. And, getting them out with it, they can comb their hair, do whatever they want outside is better than having them stand in the bathroom for a while.
So, basically, I'm gonna build a deck. And then we'll build the structure on top of the deck and have the overhang come over and, there's no second post in this second picture, but I'll have to put a second post in, so I mean more footings, but yeah. And then we'll do the ramp off the side and that'll be faced uphill, and the structure itself, if you're in the equestrian center, the door will be facing the town hall. So we already have a spot brush hogged out for it. Yeah, if everybody likes everything, we'll get everything ordered. And hopefully we'll punch footings next week. And get footings poured and then, start building it.
And remember, we got a $5,000 grant,
Yep.
for the composting toilet, which is gonna,
What's the maintenance on this toilet?
It just depends on how, it takes care of itself to a decent amount. And then it just depends on how much people use it. So, midsummer when, there's just people walking their dogs and hiking and some people using the equestrian center, it's pretty self-contained, which is nice. I was looking through all the paperwork that came with it, so it's relatively easy. Unless, you get people using it constantly, but yeah, it should really be no problem, which is nice.
I'm sure it gets me the back if you had to or something.
Yeah, if like worst case scenario, we can call. We use Jones. Really, pretty quick.
they're quick, all right, they're
Yeah.
coming this weekend.
Yeah, so Yeah, but we should be looking good on that. Besides for that, it's springtime. You know, I do want the CAC members to know, if you guys go over and hike through the disc golf course, which we completely redid this year, there are a lot of sections that we used to mow over there that will be completely abandoned now, and we'll let grow back in. So we'll probably be mowing a quarter less than we used to over there. So that'll all grow back in. I mean, it'll have to be brush hogged once every couple of years, just to keep it, you know, still meadow, but yeah, so it's something.
Maybe a little bit out, and you know what? It looks beautiful. Actually, it looks great.
Yeah, it's less of the cut too, which is nice. Yeah, all the normal things, and then just, but still on that, you know, mowing season started. All the outside bathrooms are open except the one at Godfrey Park at this point. We do have to get up there and open that one probably next week or the week after. But the ones down in the park, the ones by the maintenance shop, and the ones back by the concession stand are all open for anybody who's in the park, using the park. Yeah, and I also want to say thank you to my team, besides Tom St. Ange that did all the work on the disc golf course. The team went like above and beyond this year, maintaining the trails and cutting back brush on the trails that it, you know, encroached over the years and stuff. And they did a really awesome job. So anybody who wants to get out and about, like, the trails are in awesome shape. So,
And you've been filming some videos for the trail races.
yeah.
You got, I don't know if any of you have seen these on Instagram, mostly Instagram, aren't they? Oh, I saw one
they're
on
posted on
Facebook.
Facebook as well.
Yeah,
So yeah, we're trying to do one every Thursday just to
Show them how
get
beautiful
people
they are.
interested and get people out. So yeah, first race is May 21st.
Well, and this Saturday during our Orange Bag campaign, Angels of Light is going to have their race down there. Which is how many years they've changed the name a little bit, but now it's, you know, it's
I think,
run
yeah, it's something like
lots before. Yeah. Anyway, so that run is in Time Warner in the morning on Saturday, and then our run May 21, and there's going to be
21st, yep. There'll be 4 of them throughout the year, May 21st, July 29th, I think is the night run, and then there'll be one right before Halloween. That's a costume run, or the, you know, more of a fun run, and then there'll be one on December 9th, I believe, which will be in conjunction with, you know, not with us doing the festival, the grand illumination, but it'll be the weekend after, but it'll start in the evening. You know, everybody run back into the park with the lights on, so.
and
Yeah, it'll be cool.
I'm gonna just thank you for his hard work, because if you go on the town's website on the front page, there's the poster for the run. And then if you don't even have to hit the QR code, you can hit anywhere on that on the flyer, and it takes you to the website where you can sign up, which is a separate website because we're using an outside company, but you did a fabulous job on that. And if everybody knows to click on that, I think that once after the first one, they'll get used to it and more people will sign up. Nice job though.
Yeah,
It looks
please.
great.
Tell people to sign up, come run the races. It'll be fun.
Enjoy our trails.
Yeah, exactly. So,
You're gonna stick around a little while for this
Yep.
conversation? All right, wonderful. Thank you. Thanks so much. All right, next up, we have our recreation report from Maggie Collins. Anybody have that handy? Councilman Guscott, would you like to read that?
Recreation, our egg hunts for all was a successful event, and it was a beautiful day for families and friends to enjoy the beginning of spring. We would like to thank the staff who assisted in the event, and to everyone who came out prior to the days to volunteer for our various successful egg hunts. Our spring break TGTT program was full of sunshine and outside play, and we welcomed many new faces to the program. Students K through 5th enjoyed spring themed crafts and activities, and enjoyed their days off at Time Warner Park. Registration for full and half TGTT days are open on our website. This Friday, we look forward to hosting our spring adult paint and sip event. Patrons will enjoy the following instructors step by step and practice their creative skills while having fun with family and friends. While registration for this event is full, information on the next event in June can be found on our website, and registration is open. Our first trail race of the year will be at Tom Park on May 21st, and we'll check in at 9 a.m. and the race starts at 10 a.m. This will be a fun event for the whole family, and participants are free to run or walk at their own pace while enjoying the park's trails. Upon registration, participants will receive a custom wooden medal source from the park, a discount code to use towards territory, and automatically be entered into a raffle to win merchandise from Territory Run Company. For more information and to register, visit the link on our website as well as our social media pages. Our team continues to plan and prep for our summer camp programs, and we look forward to another great summer season.
Excellent. They're doing a lot of good work down there.
Oh, yeah.
How about, next up is the constable's report? Thank you, Councilman.
Well, as a constable monthly report for March 2023, constables patrolled approximately 510 miles of county roads, including all town properties, filling the Explorer with 33 gallons of gasoline. The 3 town court gates total 32 cases on the dockets with 10 appearances, and 10 cases were not guilty by mail, and 1 case was dismissed with failure to prosecute. The officer did not show to court. There were no incidents to report. Constables reported the following during patrol: issued parking after hours violation at the equestrian center. Directly submitted to which to look at.
All right, thank you. Our animal control report.
I could do that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, animal control report for the month of March 2023. During the month of March 2023, there were no lost or found dogs. There was 1 animal complaint and 1 wildlife call regarding a resident attacked by a potentially rabid raccoon. Respectfully submitted, Mary Jean Calvin. Also in parentheses, due to the confidentiality issues, more information may be obtained by accessing the animal control officer's logbook.
Great,
So,
all right.
we didn't hear anything further on that incident, did we?
No, or the,
So I guess it didn't turn out too badly.
well, the month before, you know, we had the fox.
Right,
And
yeah,
he was getting shots. I mean, that,
it was.
yeah, so that poor man had to go through all the shots, but I haven't heard any updates on the raccoon. All right, at this point, we're gonna go through some old business, and the first thing there's a few things for us to discuss. Now, we've been dealing with the town code and the way that junk, rubbish, and debris is defined and handled in the junk, in the code, so that our court cases are, it's easier to explain to people what they are and are not allowed to do. Now, our attorney, Jeffrey Battistoni, has talked to George. George and I have met a couple of times. I think where we are, Jeff sent us, you sent us a bunch of samples from other towns. George is reviewing those because I think with, he he and I reviewed all the examples that he has, the guy, there's 25 bicycles, there's tons of junk in somebody's yard, and it's, it gets tricky because if it's, like stuff that somebody got from the recycling center even, or from out of the trash can from somebody down the street, and their lawn is littered with it. And George goes and says, you got to remove all that stuff from your lawn. They constantly say things like, it's good stuff. This is good stuff. It's like it's in the eye of the beholder. And so what we have to do is make sure, and 95% of the people in town, according to George, writes a letter and says, you're not allowed to do X, Y, and Z, and they remove it immediately. But there's the 5% that he's having a hard time with. And so what we're doing is buttoning up the language. Now, we didn't finish for this month's meeting because there were some things that George felt like he would like to look at it. And actually Jeff Battistoni recommended maybe we just have one, we're going to tighten up some definitions, and then we're going to have one paragraph about property management that says you just can't have anything like that out in the front lawn, and it has to be completely hidden. So we're reading some of the other towns, and Mr. Battistoni is helping us. We're going to talk about it next week. I think we'll probably have a proposal at the next town board meeting.
Okay.
George needs a little more time. He wants to see, review what all the other towns are up to. So that's that update. Now, short-term rentals, we're about ready. Now, I have, you guys have a lot of information on the short-term rentals.
Yeah.
We've discussed it before. You have, I was thinking you might wonder why we weren't ready to do this tonight, but there are still a few more, even though we're taking an approach that is more hands-off than like Beacon or Rhinebeck. We still have to come up with a couple of things. If we're good, now remember the purpose is we're going to have a registry. We might have 12 units in the town of Unionville, but we're going to have a registry. And the reason for our registry is not to bother people, but to make sure we know who has them for fire reasons, for safety, for littering, because we're going to impose, littering has been our one big problem. We're gonna impose, they're gonna either have to get a permit for the recycling center, or they're gonna have to show us that they paid for pickup. It's, you know, but they're gonna have to prove that.
Mhm.
So as we've discussed before, the only thing that I feel like, now Jeff's gonna look at the language and make sure language, we want to take an easier approach for the residents. We're not trying to impose, but so we came up with a 2-page registration and checklist. So on the back of the checklist, you've had this for the last couple of meetings. The back of the checklist has to do with the exterior of the house, making sure that the numbers are meeting the 4-inch requirements. So if there's a fire and somebody has to call the fire, they can find the house. So all of these things. So if you're going to rent your house out to somebody, the fire department has to be able to get there easily. The interior of the house, how many bedrooms, are there handrails on the stairways, the electric panel is properly marked. So these are all safety and fire related, smoke detector, carbon monoxide detectors, and then, you know, where you place your firewood. So we have the checklist on the back, and on the front, we have a registration, name, address, the normal things. The one thing that we didn't cover, I think Councilman Derlin, you mentioned this last time, parking. And what our attorney is asking for is us to finalize he's going to look at this from a legal perspective. I mean, our registrations will be this simple. It's a checklist, and we're going to have an annual re-up. It's going to be $100 permit every year, because George's system primarily is annual, so he didn't want to do the 2-year. So we're going to do that. But the one thing that we haven't really, we can have a discussion with this and then have a discussion with the public when we do have a public hearing. But how many parking spaces? Some of our houses, they have mile-long driveways. It won't matter. They're way in the back. Some other people are in a neighborhood. And then to those people, it might matter. So we'll get some advice from Jeff on how we may want to structure parking. In some of the examples that you have here, there's some parking, some towns that really worried about parking. We want to be, we've all agreed that we want less is more. We want to focus on safety and littering, and but we don't want the parking to be an inconvenience for neighbors. So we have to balance that. So I don't know what the answer is, but the next board meeting, we're going to have a suggestion and we can all get to it. Does that make sense? All right. Good stuff in here to read that Jeff sent over. Thank you very much for those, Jeff. We can see what the other towns are doing. And then I think we'll put something together for the next board meeting as a resolution of introduction, and then we'll plan our public hearing and get some feedback. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Next up is, the expanding the residency requirements for council. We just haven't done this yet. I think we'll just do this for the next month, which is we're going to use the similar language. We talked about it. Everybody in theory agreed with the similar language. To deputy town clerk. It should be pretty straightforward. We just haven't. We're going to do all of these changes together, so it hasn't been writing yet. So we're going to have those 3 things will probably coming for May. Now the rental property donation has officially closed. So we'll be sending them a nice thank you note this week. The family, all the members that donated that to us, we got all the official paperwork from Jeff. I mentioned at the top of the meeting that we have paid our property taxes that were due. So we're in a good situation now to have, we had a few residents that wanted to get together and talk about a dog park, a walking park, a community garden. How do they want to use that land? So those will be wonderful discussions. We'll get our advisory group together, and then we'll have them come and share their ideas. So more to come in the future. Furnace Pond Dam. Jake and I have been talking about this. We missed our big opportunity last August because the boring company, there's one, and our engineer, he even actually had a conversation with Bob Balkine from the county, because the day that Ed and I were meeting with him about the berm and other things, we discussed the dam, and it has been, I was dubious. I thought it was a dubious assumption that there was one company that had the equipment size that would fit on our dam so that they could conduct the boring test, but it's been confirmed by our county DPW commissioner. So they blew it for us last August when we were having that drought. We had no water in there, and they didn't show up. I mean, it's a shame. So then, anyway, they want to come in May, and we told them no. Good. Because there's too much water in that dam, and we would spend $30,000 minimum just to drain it down, and then we'd get a new thing of rain, and we'd be back where we started. And so we said to them, August is our best month. Could you please just put us on your calendar and adhere to your promise? So we're really hoping that we'll have that test this August. But I mean, it's so expensive. It was $5,000 for a week, and that was a work like 5 days. not 7 days, but so it's a very expensive thing to drain that water. And we're kind of still in rainy season, so we don't want to just throw that money out the window. We're hoping August will be great. And then we can come back with results of that, and then the dam discussions will start. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, so we're still moving. It's just at a much slower pace than any of us wanted. The playground at Godfrey Park, that order was submitted. We paid him his down payment. I don't know how long it's going to take to get there. We were hoping for sometime mid to end of August. It's going to be like the water tank. We hope it'll be here in time for our residents to get some use out of it. But anyway, as soon as we get the word that it's getting close, we'll have all of those meetings. We're going to have to tear to tear everything down.
Yeah.
The community build is exciting for all the residents. The 11.7, the improper foreclosure of property by Dutchess County. I can tell you that we submitted all the paperwork. There is a hearing scheduled. We're seeking a determination to understand, does something in the real property tax law protect them from their own resolution that they blew through, that they didn't adhere to, which was to give us notice. And it's really important that people understand about this. That property, several family members came to talk to us about the property. We didn't even know what was going on in that property until family members brought it to our attention. And then when the family explained to us what their position was and what their thoughts were, and urged us to go through, to try to find out, even if they could, they felt like if those that were in touch with us, if the land were part of Time Warner Park, at least they could still visit the land. We all felt as a group, or the majority of us, 4 of us, felt that we should approach the county and say, did you make a mistake here? Is there anything we can do? Because we know down the road, some group of residents 5 years from now, if there's a big crane sitting in the middle of that field that, are going to look back and say, why was that town board working with their eyes closed? And why didn't they do something about this? So those were our thoughts. And we seek a determination on what is right. And our attorney, that's the way he wrote it up. And we'll soon, I don't think it's going to be that long. We should hear at some point. Maybe even in May. I don't know how long it takes them after they hear all sides, but at least we'll get an answer to whether they acted appropriately. And that's all we want. Next up, the recycling center. So this is part of all the meetings that I have with the department heads and stuff. Now, the recycling center, I forgot to post those. I apologize. But Councilman Gustikoff, Councilman Welch, and I went down to the Kent Recycling Center and visited that one. Got a lot of intelligence from them on how they're doing things. We know we're going to have to change some things at the recycling center because Tom Farmer's going to retire and we're going to take over the bottles and cans and things. And so we're going to change the way that's laid out so it's easier for people to put that stuff in there. But we also want to do some other things. We want to send out a survey to the folks who have permits that use the recycling center, because we want to ask them what there's some additional services we'd like to bring to them. One of the ideas we had from Kent was having a shredder. Our town clerk organizes the shredder twice a year. People love it and they bring all their stuff. And we spend $800 on that if we do it twice a year. So we were thinking if we had a shredder and people could bring their private documents over that they need to shred, their bank statements or whatever, then that would be an additional service that they would have at the recycling center. There's more space there. We've got a lot of room. And I think what they've got going on, and our Mary Ann DeLeese actually wants to run a thrift shop over there because people bring a lot of stuff. But they would bring more if they knew, if there was this, if it were organized better.
Yeah.
I mean, our setup is not as well organized as theirs, and it's time for a renovation of some sort. But what we thought we could do is send out a survey to all the people that have permits and say, okay, these are our ideas. What do you think? Is there something that we could offer you at the recycling center? And get more of what people want there, because it's kind of the time to clean up and make it a little bit easier. Composting has been discussed. Josh just left. The CAC says they went to a meeting and everybody wants composting, and typically they have it at the recycling center. I don't know that we want that. I think we should ask our residents. There is a gentleman that lives in Unionville that set up an educational composting center in Westchester. And he's approached, I thought we could have him one night. He said, I can set it up at our recycling center and it teaches high school kids. We can offer how to compost and why, whether or not they want it. Now, some people think that a lot of people in Unionville do their own composting. And so we need to get to find out what people might want, but people love that place. It's well received. We could do more with it if we spend time reorganizing it. And The booth
Yeah.
is well, everybody loves the new booth that
Mhm.
Councilman Gussakoff organized with Jake. As far as the putting it together, and I know that we're gonna add some trim and stuff to that soon.
Yeah.
The people, oh, now he's back. I was talking about composting. Yeah, I know.
So the good stuff.
So, yeah, but I think the survey would be a good thing for us to react to when we get the results back. You guys feel all right about it?
Yeah.
Sure.
We'll send it around and see if you have anything you want
Yeah,
to
get the
add.
users input.
Yeah, we'll do it on email, so it won't be expensive, but then we'll get some good ideas and see. All right, so we'll plan on that in the next couple of weeks and hopefully we'll get some good feedback.
With the composting though, we'd have to be open more often than we are now. That's one thing.
Oh, we
What was
would?
that?
Yeah, because people are not gonna keep their food waste around and wait for Saturday to come
Oh,
around.
it's open Wednesday too.
Well, Wednesday, but I'm saying in between Sunday and Wednesday, people are not gonna want it, so we have to. rethink that.
All right.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, loan me in the kitchen. and
I
put it
know,
all in
but-
there.
Everybody over your house.
It's only this big.
Yeah, yeah,
It doesn't hurt touching banana peels.
yeah,
No, it is a cool thing.
yeah,
No, it's a good point. All right, so we're gonna learn a lot about this and we'll have the CAC do a little research
Yeah.
for us. Thank you. All right, next up. All right, seniors in Unionville, Department of Aging. So I want to discuss with you our seniors. Now, I feel like we've always had the seniors, they were given a budget of $5,000 over here and they organize themselves and they can go on trips, they can have lunches and dinners. So I had visits this week, that's all in this week. So Sue Serino is now at the Department of Aging, and you know, she's always been a big supporter of the seniors, and they send out a lot of stuff. And our residents are taking notice. Now, I think, and I'm sure others will agree with me, probably our town clerk knows. Maybe that senior sitting behind Kevin Derlin knows, but they're languishing. I feel like they need to be organized a little bit. I didn't say who was the senior. I just said there was one behind Kevin Derlin.
There's one next to it.
They're all over the place. But they came in and they said, you know, the Department of Aging is doing these meetings and the CBS report about the friendly calls. Did you guys see that? They're making friendly calls from Dutchess County Department of Aging for prearranged folks. They call them once a week for 8 weeks. Develop a rapport. They try to match people up with, like, maybe they both are interested in gardening or something. So those have been really successful, and they haven't come to our town to talk to us about it. So I asked them to please organize that. And to please come. They're going to come in May, so we can advertise it to our folks. But I have to tell you, beyond that, since COVID, they're falling apart down there. Three of their most influential, lovely members have passed away. Between Gloria and Ernie. It's very sad things have been going on.
Yeah.
They're fighting over COVID and whether or not people have vaccinations and they come in and not come in. And so people aren't coming. It's a sad situation. I think for the first time that we should consider taking that separate group and making it part of recreation. Putting that money in the recreation budget instead they've underspent the last 2 or 3 years because of COVID, but they've underspent. Let it be there. And I think they'd be much better off if we organized events around the year. And then there are a whole group of seniors, some of the people here might be able to explain it to us, that won't even come to the Friday afternoon things. Maybe they're cliquey. I don't know. I don't know. But I think if the town ran the events, maybe they would introduce the Department of Aging's coming, the Recreation Department could say, Sue Serena's going to be here. Brian Thompson's going to be here. I think that's his last name. They're going to, and they told me what they were going to talk about, the friendly calls, so they can match people up and do those calls for 8 weeks. I know some seniors personally that would really benefit from them. So, but we could have that kind of an event, and then they could have picnic. They could do the things that we need to organize a little more for them. They're drifting. So what I guess what I'm really asking is, I think we could test it for a year. We could get Maggie and Jake to tell us what they think at the end of the year. Jake and I have talked about it. Testing it where we organize for them instead of leaving them to their own devices because they're falling apart and nothing's happening. It's kind of sad.
good idea. Yeah.
So can we bring them into recreation? I think Maggie can handle it now that we're limiting the after school program is only for the TGT, the full days and half days off.
Yeah.
And then help them out a little bit. We'll try a bunch of things. We've always wanted to have a senior fair where we offer them, companies to come to talk about how they can call 911 with those necklaces and lots of services they need, maybe discounts on this and that.
I'm not too keen on that.
Go ahead.
Oh, you're not? We used them in this.
People let them home and they go shopping and think it's all,
Oh,
they gotta climb in windows.
oh, wow. Yeah, it's not
Or in
supposed
the
to,
middle of.
not supposed to do that.
They don't know it. You come to the door and they're ready to shoot you.
Oh, that's a weird, the one I know of is where they press a button and the box is in the bedroom and somebody comes on, a 24-hour company comes on and says, are you okay? Did you fall down? And then they say, who would you like us to call? Your family member or 911? That's the good service.
Yeah.
And they all say, call my son, John Welsh. So that's a better one. We could
Yeah,
suggest
yeah,
that. Yeah, okay. So those are things we should talk about, but all right, so let's have a motion to bring the seniors in for 2023 to the department, the recreation department, and then run some programs and see how that.
Yeah.
Is that the motion? Yeah, I'll make that motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor of doing that, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No? All right, that motion carries. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I think this will give a good boost.
Yeah.
I think they need a little help.
Push
Yeah.
Yeah,
guidance.
in organization and stuff. So I
Yeah,
think
like
that's
you say,
good.
keep people at home, so
Yeah, it's sad.
it is.
Yeah, it's for them. So this will help. I think they'll be excited. All right. Now, big heart of the meeting, and thank you. Sorry to keep so late. The next up, we have, and I'm gonna, Mr. Gosnell, do you want to come up and join us? This is the Renia engineering proposal to design the new drainage system. If we move forward with converting the park, the lower fields down there from baseball to soccer. Now, you guys worked on that a little bit last week.
Yeah.
Do you want to give the board an update on that? They've probably seen it, but just give me an update.
I mean, we took out the backstop and the fencing and, you know, any of the berms and stuff that were left, and we started just kind of filling things in, but that's not, yeah, I mean, that's taking out the ball. That's.
And they were all rusted and,
Yeah, and I mean, the bleachers that are down there are in really horrible shape. I mean, they're probably original to the park when it,
Yeah.
72, when it was put in, so they're really, you know,
Yeah.
one set was to the point where they just had.
I'm surprised I still.
Yeah.
is
Exactly.
that going on our infrastructure list, new bleachers, maybe? Are they repairable or is this something?
No, I don't.
Oh, no, they're gone.
They're done.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, we saved all the wood from, you know, they were big 2x12s, so any of them that were decent, we saved, because we can repurpose them for, you know, certain things.
And the metal went in the metal bin.
Mhm.
Excellent.
All the metal went in the metal bin down at the recycling center, so.
No, it's good to get rid of that because it could be serious consequences.
Yeah,
If they fail during the game.
So what we want to talk about tonight, and this is where. Our engineer, I'm saying he's he's an engineer that lives in the town, Bob Oswald. Was kind enough when he heard that we were looking at this. Maybe we can bring this. You guys see it? Okay, it's very light. When he heard that we were looking at this, just so you guys can see it, and you guys have to react to it. Oh, thanks, John. Can you see it okay? I have, actually, Jake, you and I went through this the other day. You want to point through, or maybe get the pointer, I'll give it to you. Just show them where the drainage is, because I know that,
Oh,
Kevin, I doubt you can see it. It's kind of faint.
Actually, the drainage.
Can you see it okay?
Yeah.
All right, if everybody can see it, then good, thank you. So Bob Oswald was nice enough to do a topographical surveys for us so that we could take the next step, which is have an engineer come and assess what their proposal would be for the drainage system. And he's done, we got copies of this for the engineer. And basically he's taken many photographs from different angles that he wants to share with whoever the engineer is. So that was a very nice thing for Bob Oswald to do, and he did it for free. Says if you turn these into soccer fields, please be my donation to your new soccer fields if you end up going in that way, which was very nice. So all of his digital information and everything is prepared to go. But I think at least we know that drainage system is there. There is that one set of pipes that goes out to Fishkill Creek. And I didn't know that this thing was across the street. I mean, see that over there? It's across Roseville and comes through. There's a big culvert there that brings it down and goes out that way. Did you know that? I didn't,
I did that, yeah.
yeah, I didn't know that.
Gotta see what shape it's into, could be
Yeah.
collapsed, that could be part of the issue too.
Yeah.
Why should
Yeah.
it collapse? Plugged.
It flows,
There's a flow.
it does, it flows to us.
Yeah,
Yeah, it flows to
yeah,
us.
comes under the road to us. On watershed coming this way. Yeah.
I wonder why they set it up like that. Instead of having it go down the county road.
So there was.
Yeah. They probably wanted the water
Possibly.
for the cow. I mean,
So that whole area was like a big fence. Row after row of fence.
right. Oh, wow. So they might have wanted that water for the livestock.
Yeah.
That's probably why it was like that.
Because there's no well. in the-
I mean,
CMP.
It's got that big feeder thing. What is that
Yeah.
for water or food or?
That was the clean out.
Yeah.
North.
Oh, wow, that's great. That's cool.
They had a water source, so maybe that's why.
Yeah. So would we keep that? Ed, would we, that's the county.
Oh, Time Warner Park Road. if they
Yeah, yeah.
Place that.
Oh, no. Mining road.
So, it sounds like a future discussion about maybe that culvert across the street and all that, but what we have in front of us is the engineering proposal. You guys have this?
Yeah.
I mean, it,
I don't have that either.
hey, where is it? Oh, here you go. They're all set. They were all sitting on the table, sorry. We had a table full of paper today. Tons of stuff.
Everybody got
Wait a minute, I need another. Oh, yeah, is there one more?
This is the next one.
Okay. That one? Okay. So it's the max, it looks like 3,200
Mhm.
Yeah.
to design that, And I invited Tom, I said, well, I'm just gonna say this and we'll go through to the meeting. Would you like to come? And he said, because you guys are so experienced, he said, when they read that, they're not gonna need me at that meeting. So,
Good point, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, he's very specific, all lays it all out there.
I mean, I don't know what the total project might cost. But we have to, I guess we have to know what the design, I mean, what the drainage would look like. It's probably $3,200 well spent.
Yeah,
Because it's like the boring test on the dam. We don't have a next step until we get that answer.
yes, right.
So,
Yeah, this is the next step.
okay. All right, well, if you feel comfortable with the material that you have, I would entertain a motion to support this and proceed.
So. One sec, would he kind of be able to spec out? What would really be needed in material to get this going?
The drainage.
Not the drainage.
You know the drainage material, okay?
What's that? The drainage, yeah.
Ask them to give us an estimate for,
It would help
Top,
us.
top surface.
Yeah. Would he be able to do that? I'm sure he can,
I'm
right?
sure that's gonna be part of it. Once he designs it, he'll tell us what we
Yeah.
do to support it.
That scale, but it's whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
They raise, if they wanna. match to the drainage system.
One of the first things you're gonna want to do is check that. Check that.
Yeah, see if it's good for.
Yeah, tennis courts too, so it's gonna, like I have to reroute it. Reroute it if we can. No, I'm just saying reroute around the tennis.
No,
courts.
yeah,
Tennis courts, so, yeah.
They didn't look to see if they're any good, you're gonna.
Oh, it's probably, yeah, it's the box.
Yeah.
No, especially if you're not team.
This one, I mean, I like, I want to know.
Yeah.
Where, where are you talking?
At the bottom of the hill.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Jake, you were saying there's baseball. Baseball. Baseball backstop, like,
Sure, it's right up here. Yes, up the side.
I was just.
That's one thing that concerns me, just getting rid of all.
Yeah.
Come around the other way?
Pretty nice. It grew in really nice with the grass. I think we took the field. Ball. They asked, you know, we had no idea.
Be interesting, okay. So we're gonna,
That was like my first year here, so that was 7 or 8 years ago.
so it's gonna come down to
It's growing in really nice with the backstops.
Wait,
The pictures are still there. So if somebody wanted to bring in their own bases. we
green
could-
across that way,
Yeah.
going straight down where it is,
It would be-
the tennis court.
One sport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the only wet area.
Yeah,
460 right here, 464.
There's just so many of them that have there's baseball field, and they have multiple. And they have one here, so it's 470.
Ed can't hear you.
And it just. well, it's It's just that.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it only goes, if you come to here, you got 470 here, you have 460 here.
Yes, you might have like.
You might be at the same height, you might be good level. And,
Just take it deeper.
You can't completely
You gotta get out.
but then you're gonna be trying to pull from
Here,
here.
I'm sure.
And this is gonna be lower than where the pipe needs to be.
Over there, unless you're getting.
Oh, all right.
Okay, so I guess
Yeah.
we need his suggestions and we'll have him look at what's there and tell us what condition it's in and everything. I mean, remember when we were doing the Time War Park parking lot? And they were talking about all the water that comes down
Yeah.
from that, yeah, from the hill and trying to keep it off the parking lot because it runs everything out.
Mhm.
So it's a good time to take a look at it. I mean, you know, the whole thing.
Yep.
All right. Well, we might get a lot out of this and Tom was really helpful when we were talking about that parking lot. We were trying to finish up that grant, so. All right. How do you guys feel? Want to make a motion?
So we did already, I thought.
Yeah, I made a motion.
Oh, you did? I apologize.
3,200 on the field design.
All right. Is there a second?
A second.
Any discussion? Any more discussion? Feel comfortable? All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, that motion carries and we'll alert Tom and get going and we'll get the answers we need.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks. Sorry to keep you out so late. Thank you, Jake. All right, that's very good. All right, next up, we have two resolutions. Councilman Gusikoff, would you like to read that one? No,
Since he's a good.
he's a good friend. He's a nice, he's a good man.
Resolution number 28-2023. Resolution authorizing acceptance of a gift from Robert V. Oswald. Whereas longterm Unionville resident Robert V. Oswald runs a highly regarded full-service engineering firm. And whereas Mr. Oswald heard that town of Unionville is looking into removing the lower baseball fields in Time War Park and replacing them with soccer fields, given popular demand and usage. And whereas Mr. Oswald understands that the topographical survey of the entire field area would be necessary to use the base map for the proposed new grading and new field drainage necessary to be designed and offered to donate his firm services free of charge for the new soccer fields. Now thereof be resolved, the town board of Unionville understands the larger expense the town is saving and gratefully accepts this generous gift from Robert Oswald and the great appreciation on behalf of the residents of the town of Unionville and lovers of Time Warner Park.
Thank you for that introduction. May I have a second?
I'll second.
Great. Any more discussion about that nice gift? Came right out of the blue.
It's a good night.
Yeah, he is a very, very nice man. May we have a roll call vote, please?
Councilman Gussie.
Aye.
Councilman Derlin.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Welsh.
Aye.
Supervisor Mott.
Aye. Great, thank you very much. That resolution carries. Now, resolution number 29. Councilman McGivney, would you like to read that one?
Resolution 29 of 2023 regarding recent acceptance of land as a donation from the Rettle family will be used for public purpose. Whereas the family of Herb Rettle generously donated to the town of Unionville 8.96 acres of vacant real property located at the intersection of North Clove Road and Route 82, identified as tax parcel 666-2-00-856935, which produced tax revenue to the town in the amount of approximately $289 per annual. Whereas in the interest of and greater safety for all drivers on North Clove Road, part of the premise be given up to expand and turn from North Clove onto Route 82. And the rest of the premise will be used for a public purpose. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the town of Unionville request that tax parcel 856935 be considered exempt from all taxes, so that the residents of Unionville will simply enjoy and appreciate the use of such beautiful parcel forever.
Thank you very much for offering that resolution. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, I'd like to call for a roll call vote, please.
Councilman Gussie.
Aye.
Councilman Derlin.
Aye.
Councilman McGivney.
Aye.
Councilman Welsh.
Aye.
Supervisor Mott.
Aye. Excellent. Thank you. That resolution passes. Now, what happens with this is I turn it in and then they mark the property will be, now we will be paying school taxes in the fall. And we will be paying county taxes at the end of the year. Because we just got this property and it won't be tax exempt until 2024. So, you know, those are unbudgeted expenses.
Right.
They're not great. I mean, there's less than $300 to the town but the others are much higher. I'll let you know those when I get them. Okay? All right. Well, that's it. Are there any, before we need to pay the bills, we should make that motion. Is there a second? All in favor of paying the bills?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Any public comments on town issues? No comments? All right. Well, thank you all very much for joining us tonight. We're going to have a quick executive session to discuss litigation. And other than that, the meeting will be over, but you're welcome to join and come back for our adjournment. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Gotta have a working on this then. This will be 5 minutes, guys. All right. Can you turn off the? You're just gonna have a meeting. Yeah, I think so. We're gonna, immediately after this, we're going to adjourn.